Govberg, and welcome to the world of IWC. Today, I'll be your guide to the proper usage, care, and maintenance of your IWC Portugieser Chronograph Classic in steel. It's important to note that although this is an automatic winding timepiece, nevertheless it can be manually wound by taking the crown in its first position flush to the case and turning it in a clockwise direction 20 to 30 turns. Now you'll know your watch is operating because the constant seconds hand at 6 o'clock will begin to advance. At this point you can set the time, set the date, put the watch on the wrist, and the natural course of kinetic action on the wrist in conjunction with the case back winding rotor will ensure that the watch fully energizes its 68-hour power reserve. However, it's also important to note that should you wish to fully wind the watch to its 68-hour maximum autonomy, you can do this by turning the crown in the clockwise direction. Now, because of the bridle style mainspring in the watch, you cannot accidentally overwind this movement. Therefore, simply continue turning the crown until you hear a light click or tick. This is the bridle slipping by design to relieve excess strain, and it's the sign that your watch is fully wound. Now, at this point, there are two features that allow you to set the watch more precisely. The first is hacking or stop seconds. When you pull the crown out 2 detents from flush to the case, you'll note that the seconds hand at 6 o'clock ceases to advance, and indeed the balance on the back of the watch has ceased to oscillate. This is because the watch is now effectively frozen. Stop seconds is engaged. The best way to use this to set your watch precisely is to stop the constant seconds hand when it reaches 60, and then advance the minute hand to the next nearest minute relative to a reliable reference timer, such as an online atomic clock. Now, when the reference timer catches up to the exact minute and second you've set on your watch, push the crown back in. You'll note the seconds hand continues to advance. Now you've synchronized your watch. But what if you want to set the date? Well, the intermediate position is known as quick set. Between flush to the case and pulled out for stop seconds, there is a quick set functionality. Now you can rapidly cycle the date should the watch run down or encounter an irregular length month. It's important not to use this feature between the hours of 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. as this is the period during which the watch's automatic date jumper is engaged through midnight. Attempting to use the quick set from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. will crash the movement, so always take care not to set the date using the quick set from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. This watch is a chronograph and it features a unique chronograph functionality. It is possible to use the watch in the classic start, stop, and reset sequence. However, this IWC in-house caliber also features flyback functionality, meaning you can reset and restart the chronograph by pressing the chronograph trigger at 4 o'clock with no hazard to the movement. This is useful for timing events that occur in rapid succession during track and field events, or an auto race, or a horse race, for example. Again, either mode, start, stop, and reset, or start, reset, and restart, can be used because of the watch's chronograph flyback functionality. Now, with respect to hazards and handling, there are 3 primary hazards to keep in mind when using your watch: water, magnetism, and shock, of which water is by far the greatest hazard. It's important to note that although this watch is water resistant, nevertheless, no natural leather strap is ever water resistant, as leather is a porous natural material that degrades rapidly in the presence of moisture. So always ensure your watch is on a synthetic or water resistant strap prior to exposure to moisture. Moreover, it's important to note that this timepiece, water resistant to 3 ATM, is suitable exclusively for surface exposure, for splashing, accidental exposure to rain. It's not designed for submergence or aggressive sports activity. It should also be noted that you can help to avoid accidental drowning when your watch is exposed to water. Do not use the chronograph pushers, and neither wind the watch nor set the watch using the crown, but keep it flush to the case. By avoiding the use or removal of chronograph pushers and crown when the watch is wet, you avoid accidentally bypassing the seals and introducing moisture to the interior of the watch, which can have catastrophic consequences. So again, avoid accidental drowning. All functions of the watch remain disused when the watch is wet. It's also important to note that unlike mechanical specifications, water resistance is not a static feature of your watch, and over time, as seals age and lubricants dry up, your watch will be relatively less water resistant. Therefore, IWC advises having the watch water tested every 12 to 24 months at an authorized service center to ensure that factory-rated hermeticity is still intact. Now, it's also important to note that magnetism is a threat that is ubiquitous in modern life. It's everywhere. In the closures of purses and wallets and refrigerators, high-powered wiring looms, speakers, subwoofers, and MRI equipment. The hairspring at the center of your watch's balance, its heartbeat, is a ferrous hairspring that can become magnetized. The result will be erratic timekeeping. And if you suspect, due to running very fast or running very slow, that your watch has become magnetized, take it to an authorized IWC service center where specialized equipment is available to quickly and easily demagnetize the watch and restore its performance. Shock and concussion, however, can have more permanent and serious effects. A fine mechanical movement is vulnerable to extreme concussive effects, such as, for example, that experienced during tennis, golf, batting, firearms marksmanship, riding ATVs, mountain bikes, or snowmobiles. Therefore, disuse the watch during these activities to provide a measure of insurance against concussive damage to your movement. Finally, IWC recommends a comprehensive overhaul of a fine mechanical watch approximately every 5 years. This involves cosmetic reconditioning of the watch, restoration of water resistance, disassembly, cleaning, oiling, and regulation of the movement. This should be performed exclusively at authorized IWC service centers where specialized equipment, trained personnel, and original factory replacement parts are available to preserve the value of your watch as both an instrument and as an investment. Moreover, these agencies exclusively are authorized to back all work and parts invested with an original IWC factory service warranty. Finally, visit our website at govbergwatches.com and call, text, or email our experts who will be happy to walk you through every phase of the use and care of this or any IWC premium timepiece.